All set? Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Today is Monday, June 11th, and we're here for a regular session of the South Kingstown Town Council. I'd like to ask everybody in the audience to please join our council members for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Council President Healy.
Here.
Council Vice President Collins.
Here.
Councilman DeCruz.
Here.
Councilman Veely.
Here.
4 members present. Councilwoman Gledhill is absent.
Thank you, Dale. I'd like to move on to item number 4, A, B, and C, which is the work sessions May 29th, May 31st, the regular session of May 29th, and a closed executive session of May 29th. If I could have a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Seeing no oppositions. Item number 5 is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving forward to item number 7A. Item number 7A is a public hearing relative to an application for expansion of a license to keep and sell alcoholic beverages in South Kingstown in accordance with the general laws of 1956, and this is a Class T theater license, and the application for expansion of this T liquor license has been filed by the Contemporary Theater Company right here on Main Street by Terry Simpson, who is the president, for the indoor performance room, the outside patio, and the expansion of service to a proposed theater in an adjacent building in accordance with the special use permits that were granted by the Zoning Board of Review on June 21st, 2017 to the Contemporary Theater Company, and again on February 21st, 2012 to Phil's Kitchen. This use permit was granted to Phil's Kitchen again on February 21st, 2012. It limits the sale of alcohol to 1 hour prior to a performance and during the performance, but it does prohibit the sale of alcohol after the performance in the building used for theater performances, and is further defined in a site plan dated May 7th, 2018, which has been filed here in the town clerk's office. And this expansion is contingent again upon the issuance of a certificate of good standing by the Rhode Island Division of Taxation, certificate of insurance evidencing required liability coverage, compliance with all town ordinances and regulations, and the payment of any municipal taxes and user fees in arrears to the town, and correction of any fire codes. Would anybody like to come up to speak to this? I saw you.
I guess that would be me. I'm Terry Simpson. I'm the applicant. I'm the president of the board for the Contemporary Theater Company. This, I hope, is a relatively simple process, although I think there may be a couple of questions. But just by way of background, I think you all know where we are. This is not a new theater. We've been renting the property at 327 Main Street from Phil's, technically from Wakefield Riverside Associates, for the last 7 years, and that's where we do our main stage performances. About 3 years ago, we acquired the property in the back, the former Dr. Himmel office space, and there we have an apartment, and we have a storage facility, and we have a rehearsal facility. And outside of that building, we have a beautiful patio, which I think many of you have been to see, and we perform on that patio. We do, on Monday nights, we have free jazz concerts. On Wednesday nights and Sunday nights, we have free Shakespeare on the Saugatuck performances. And we have an occasional special event there as well. And last year, we applied and received from this council the Class T liquor license, theater liquor license, which allows us to serve liquor on the patio for 1 hour before, during, and 1 hour after the performance, which is a classic theater license. I was not aware until recently that the Phil's service in the theater building at 327 had a 1 hour before and during restriction on it from the zoning board, the special use permit. And I understand you can't do anything about that. That's the prerogative of the zoning board when they issue that. So I think we'll be going back there to get that 1 hour after restriction lifted, because again, that's their prerogative to do that. And I'm hopeful that they will. We were very well received there with our liquor license application for the patio area. So today we're asking you, the good news, today we actually bought the theater building. We closed on it this afternoon. We recorded. It was a long process to get there with the fundraising and the administrative subdivision. I want to thank the town planning department. They were very helpful to us, and that worked very well. And so now we have actually moved the lot line separating us from Phil's, and the lot line now moves the theater building to what we already own. In moving that, liquor service for Phil's is going to stop, and liquor service, if you grant it to us, will be under our jurisdiction going forward. We won't be changing the service area. It's the same area that Phil's served in. It's just that it will be us serving the liquor now instead of them, as well as continuing to serve the liquor for our performances in the back. We don't sell a lot of liquor. I don't think we've had any problem with rowdiness in the theater. Sometimes people will give us a standing ovation, but I don't think it's because of the liquor. I think it's because we have good performances. So I don't anticipate that there will be, any kind of a serious problem that the town need concern itself with. I do know that it was my understanding when we made the application, we weren't going to need the good standing from Division of Taxation. We got one last year, and we're a nonprofit, so we don't actually pay taxes, but we didn't put the application in, and I know it takes a while to do that, so if it's all possible, and we're going to be back here again in December, and we'll have to get the certificate of good standing from the Division of Taxation. But I didn't think that that was a requirement when we filled out the application. Right, on the current license that we have, we can only serve outside. The zoning board permits us to serve inside the building in the back, where we already have ownership, but the fire marshal was concerned that we don't have a panic bar door, and we haven't replaced that as of yet, and we don't need to serve liquor in that building anyway. But when we expand our special use permit, we hope to address that issue. So the liquor service will be on the patio in the back and inside the theater building. That's what we're asking you to grant us. Is that clear?
Yeah, I think you were very clear. I guess my only concern is the letter of good standing, and is there...
They understand that. They're planning on coming in.
Okay. Is there any way of helping them expedite that letter of good standing, or?
Okay.
But we can grant this expansion, and then it only goes into effect when he provides those things.
Contingent on...
I have no problem approving it. I've been to the patio, I've been inside the theater, and for other events inside the theater. I want to congratulate you guys for raising the funds that you needed in order to purchase the building, and I know that you're planning on doing some expansion there as well.
We are.
And I would definitely like to see you guys get approval for 1 hour after the event, because it seems kind of weird to be able to, it's over, and go.
Right.
Terry, I think if I'm reading the application all right, it's just technically because there's a change in ownership of the real estate.
That's correct.
Basically what we're looking at here, so.
Well, I think the other thing, though, is that Phil's was the license holder, and I'm assuming that they were taking some sort of a percentage of the liquor money that was raised.
The lion's share.
Right. So this will help a nonprofit support themselves as well.
That's correct.
Yeah, I'll just echo what Brian had to say about your successes. I remember the early days, and you folks have come a long way.
Thank you.
You do a great job there. I need to entertain a motion with...
Yes, we need to open it up.
Open it up to the public.
Oh, public, actually, I'm sorry about that. Yes, are there any other comments either here at the table? Go ahead, Dale.
Of good standing dated May 30th, dated April 6, 2018.
Oh,
I have the,
Oh, you do? Great.
that was pretty expedited.
Yeah.
One less thing
I
you
should
have
say
to
so.
worry about.
So that, okay.
Terry would also like to thank the clerk.
Yes.
Do we have any comments from any citizens who would like to come up to speak to this? If you would like to, please come up to the podium and state your name. If not, then if there are any comments, questions here at the table additionally?
There's a hand in the back.
Oh, you have to come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Bayfield Drive, 30 Bayfield Drive, in case nobody knows where I live. Anyways, I'm just curious. All right, he's in good standing and all that, but I think there's a couple of things he's missing, right? Did you say you were going to pass this, but he needed a...
There's only one thing that they need to do.
No, I'm just verifying what I heard. There's one thing, okay?
It's one item, and it's a simple, because it was part of a purchase, so Phil's just has to
Relinquish there?
stop.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Yep.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments, questions? Anything here at the table?
I just echo the sentiments that have already been said. Congratulations to the CTC for its continuing good work. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we move on to a vote?
I would make a motion that we approve item 7A as presented, contingent upon that.
I will second that.
Yep.
I'll
We have a
second.
motion and a second with the contingency stated. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have another great season.
Thank you very much for your consideration. So the 1 hour after restriction will apply across the board, even though we have the special use permit for the back?
Yes, the building official asked us this question in early May, and it was our advice that you would need to apply for a new special use permit if you were unwilling to live with the hours granted to Phil's.
For the front, but that restriction wasn't imposed on the back. Our special use for the back is 1 hour before, during, and 1 hour after. So is there any way to be able to continue that for the summer? So no service inside after the performance, but outside, we're still able to serve 1 hour after. Thank you. I can certainly live with that.
Especially during the summer, everybody wants to be outside.
Sure. We don't want to be throwing people out. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 7B, which is a public hearing as well, relative to an application to perform construction activities within 25 feet of an historic cemetery in accordance with South Kingstown Town Code, Chapter 14, Historical and Archaeological Cemeteries and Burial Sites. Application is placed by the University of Rhode Island to conduct land disturbing activities associated with the construction of the URI bike path connector to be located on Assessor's Plat 30, Lot 24, adjacent to Fernwood Cemetery here in South Kingstown, which is named Historic Cemetery Number 7, located on Plat 22-3, Lot 25. Would anybody like to come up to speak to? Please state your name for the record.
My name is Karen Beck. I'm the landscape architect at the University of Rhode Island, on staff in the Campus Planning and Design Office. Also with me tonight is J. Vernon Wyman, who is the Assistant Vice President in Business Services. He is in charge of my department at the university, as well as Ken Burke, who is the Associate Director for the capital projects on the campus. So I've been the project manager during the design process of the bike path connector, and Ken will be the project manager during construction. So we wanted to make sure that you recognize the faces that you see here before you tonight. The University of Rhode Island, through a number of different processes, has been very interested in getting a connector to the William C. O'Neill bike path. As you're probably aware, the William C. O'Neill bike path traverses through a large portion of the town of South Kingstown. It ends at the Kingston train station, passing in close proximity to the University of Rhode Island Kingston campus, crossing over Ministerial Road. The kind of peach color that you can see on the map is the Kingston campus, both on the north side of Route 138, and also includes Peckham Farm, which is on the south side of Route 138. The university has done a number of different studies on the campus, including a recently approved campus transportation and parking master plan. As part of that, we looked at a number of different opportunities for encouraging the use of alternative transportation on the campus: bicycles, pedestrians, skateboards, for the staff, the faculty, as well as the students and visitors. What you're seeing in front of you here is the map that looked at where we should put the bike path on the campus, on the main route, if you will, as well as some secondary routes where we would not necessarily have a dedicated bike path, but shared bike lanes, etc. So what is in front of you now is the actual design of the bike path connector route. It would go from Flag Road in the north and traverse all the way through the Kingston campus, crossing over Route 138, going through Peckham Farm, and then terminating at the William C. O'Neill bike path on the south end. One of the things that I would like to make sure that you're aware of is that there are a huge number of organizations and individuals who have been interested in this project. It was initially brought forward from the Rhode Island Department of Transportation. We have been in constant communication with a number of different individuals. One of the interesting things, of course, and you're probably very aware of this, eventually someday the RIDOT is going to have Route 138 on its agenda for reconstruction. And during that process, they're going to introduce a number of different roundabouts along the way, one of which is going to be at Ministerial Road and Plains Road, and the other one is going to be at the Keeney parking lot. So we are very aware of the presence of those two roundabouts that are going to occur as far as this process is concerned. We had a number of different analyses that were done during the course of the design of the project. Safety, obviously, is paramount in terms of not only the people who are going to be traversing across and through our bike path, but also on the bike path itself, whether it's pedestrians or skateboarders, rollerbladers, etc. So we had our engineers, PAR Corporation, take a look at, in specific, the crossing on Route 138, because that is the area that's going to have the most amount of traffic, the most amount of accidents, et cetera, that could be possible as a result of introducing another crossing condition here. So what you're looking at, excuse me, are the 4 crossings that we analyzed in terms of where would be the safest location for putting a crossing, knowing that we have to get from the north side of Route 138 to the south side of Route 138 in order to install this bike path. In the course of that analysis, it was determined that crossing A, which is to the farthest west of the property and in immediate proximity to the New Fernwood Cemetery, would be the best location. It has a good sight distance. It doesn't have many contradictions in terms of entrances and exits with a number of different larger vehicles, such as at the entrance to the Peckham Farm, where we have farm vehicles and tractor trailers, et cetera, that enter and exit on that particular location. It's not at a location where there's a hill, where your stopping distance is greater, which is the condition at crossing D, where the Graduate Village crossing is. And again, we had to keep in mind that at Keeney, there's going to be a roundabout, and roundabouts really do not play well with bike crossings or pedestrian crossings. We also had to, because of the fact that we're getting funding from the Department of Environmental Management through the Green Bond, $2.2 million, the university is also setting aside several $100,000 in order to get this project moving forward. As a result of that, we had to analyze our archaeological impacts, potentially, historic impacts, etc., as well as the fact that we knew we were within close proximity to the New Fernwood Cemetery. The state regulations indicate that we should be a minimum of 25 feet from the edge of an existing cemetery. However, it does allow for variances to that in the fact that they're looking to make sure that if you are within 25 feet, that there is a well-defined edge to that cemetery, that there are no exterior graves from that property line, and that whatever grading and drainage, et cetera, that you do for that work, that you will not impact the cemetery. So as part of that process, our archaeologists, which is the Public Archaeology Laboratory, did an intensive review, and what you're looking at here on the eastern and southern property lines at New Fern Cemetery, those little black dots, they're approximately 10 feet apart, and that represents a test hole that was dug by Public Archaeology Laboratory to make sure that there are not, in fact, any graves exterior of a property line. The property line is also very well documented in terms of the fact that it does have stone bounds that are present that allowed us to make a definite determination as to where the property line was. These photos also came from the Public Archaeology Laboratory review. The top photo is looking south towards the William C. O'Neill bike path. Basically, once you've just gotten onto the Peckham Farm property, the cemetery is to the right, the Peckham Farm is to the left. You can see there's a well-developed vegetation line there that's actually exterior of the cemetery property line, and there is also a fence which contains the animals that are kept on the property. That grassed area is utilized irregularly for access on the property. You can also see a little bit farther down, photo number 3, that is on the southern location between the farm. There's no longer a fence there, and then on the right side of the photo is the cemetery, which is basically its expansion area, if you will. The goal in designing a bike path is to make sure that you have enough room for two-way traffic with bicyclists or pedestrians, etc., and that you also have a clear zone. You can probably imagine what it would be like if you're driving or riding your bicycle down a bike path and you get hit upside the head with a branch or some sort of other obstruction. We don't want that to happen. It's a safety hazard. So a minimum of 5 foot is necessary. So what this diagram shows you is the 12-foot wide bike path that we're proposing, a 5-foot clear zone, 2 existing woodlands, and then the existing farmland, which is on the other side. One of the things that we did in the design of this particular bike path was take advantage of the fact that we have a cleared area. We know where our vegetation line is. So there are 2 scenarios that are going to happen alongside the cemetery. On the eastern property line, we actually are a minimum of 20 feet from the edge of the paved bike path to the property line, which is going to give us approximately a minimum of 10-foot clear zone. On the southern side, we get a little bit closer to the cemetery. We have a 5-foot clear zone and then an additional 5 feet before we actually get to the property line. So I'm going to show you kind of a combination of photographs as well as plan views. And what I'd like to show you here is this is the crossing at Route 138. You can see here we have a little zigzag, which is a typical kind of introduction to a dangerous situation. In other words, pay attention. The reason why we've made you make this little zigzag is because we have to pay attention to the fact that there's a crossing here. There will be a light here. It's called a hawk signal. It's utilized by the pedestrians or the bicyclists. They press it. It has a timer on it in order to make sure that people have enough time to stop, and there's advance warning on either side of it as well. So you can see here the green area is the Peckham Farm where the animals are kept. Right at the edge of that green area is the fence line. Then you see our bike path, which is 12 feet wide. And again, that inner edge towards New Fernwood Cemetery is approximately 20 feet from the property line, which is that dashed line. And as you can see, there's vegetation that is going to be between the bike path and the actual property line associated with the cemetery. And this is the plan view, which gives you a little bit of more detail, including the grading. We did have our project has been submitted to the Department of Environmental Management, not only for stormwater purposes, but also for, work within close proximity to wetlands. We do have that approval from them. We are currently waiting for our physical alteration permit from the Department of Transportation. If you can continue a little bit farther south, again, we're still on the eastern side of the cemetery. Same situation, very straight run. We're taking advantage of the fact that we've got good soils out here, a nice straight shot, cleared area, and we're still, again, about 20 feet from the edge of the pavement associated with the bike path to the property line associated with the New Fernwood Cemetery, which is the dashed line. Plan again. And now we've gotten to the point where we're actually making the jog between the eastern property line to the southern property line. As you can see here, we're going to have to relocate one of the existing interior access roadways that is in this area. And just as a heads up, photos get a little bit distorted in terms of what you're seeing. So the actual roadway system that is shown here, while it looks like it's actually on the cemetery property, when you actually look at the correct to-scale plans, and we do have a survey for it, that road is on the university's property, not on the cemetery's property. But we will be relocating it in order to move the vehicles farther away from the property line and keeping them away from the bike path. There will be a guardrail that will be installed between the bike path and that roadway in order to make it very clear that vehicles are not preferred on the bike path. Though for emergency purposes, we do have a design that is wide enough and sturdy enough to support emergency vehicles should they be necessary. Plan view again. So again, we're transitioning from the edge of the paved limits for the bike path from about 20 feet away from the eastern property line to approximately 10 feet from the southern property line. And then we move further south and we're headed towards the West Kingston Elementary School. It was actually a part of the work with the town of South Kingstown. We've met with the planning department, the DPW, a number of different biking enthusiasts, the town of South Kingstown's elementary school members. They were very enthusiastic about having us make the bike path as close as possible to the bike path, although they did want to make sure that we had a fence between them and the bike path with an emergency gate, because during their emergency drills they actually exit the rear of the school property and enter onto Peckham Farm as part of their emergency procedures. So we will be installing a fence and an emergency gate for them. We've tried to work very closely with a number of different individuals. As I said, we have our DEM permit and our ride-out permit has been submitted. We've gone to the Rhode Island Traffic Commission and got approval from them. We went to the Rhode Island Historic Cemetery Commission in April of this year. We had a public workshop in October of last year. And we have also recently been working with the Fernwood Cemetery, and I believe that you may have in front of you a letter that is dated today, where the university is in agreement with the cemetery. They were very concerned that although we've met the burden of proof, if you will, towards the fact that we've got a well-defined property line, we know that there are no graves exterior of the cemetery, and that our drainage and other impacts won't impact the cemetery. They were very concerned about bringing the public closer to their cemetery, and what acts of vandalism, et cetera, may result as a part of that process. So they had requested that we install a 6-foot-high chain link fence on the eastern property line and along a portion of the southern property line. And the letter that is in front of you, signed by Mr. Wyman, is in agreement with that. So we will be furnishing, installing, and maintaining that fence in order to provide them with a higher level of security between the public on the bike path and their cemetery. If you have any questions, I would definitely be happy to answer them.
Can you explain that light situation? You called it a hawk something?
Signal. Yes,
Hawk
and unfortunately, off the top of my head, I don't remember what it stands for, but it's an activated system. It's utilized. I don't know that there are any in Rhode Island currently, but there are several of them in Massachusetts. And basically, it's a pedestrian activated system. So you press it when you get to the area. There's one on either side of Route 138, and it will provide sufficient notice to vehicles traveling on Route 138 to stop in sufficient time and warning to make sure that the pedestrians and the bicyclists can cross safely.
But
I think it's very similar to the one that's right near Liberty Rentals, if I'm not confused.
That's not activated by the bicyclists, but the one on Main Street is.
Similar with the flashing lights.
so I guess the other thing is that a bicyclist could choose not to activate it, right?
They could choose not to activate it, that's correct.
Okay. Do we have any comments, questions, suggestions from the audience? If you do, please come forward and state your name. Please come forward.
Either one.
Do you want to talk about that first? That's the light, I guess.
Oh, that's what it looks like.
Hi, I'm Helen Northup. I'm the president of the board of the New Fernwood Cemetery. And I just wanted to tell you that we did have a lot of concerns about having the bike path go first of all, within the 25 feet, and second of all, along our borders for security reasons. We did speak with the university, and we did come to the agreement on the fence, and we are happy that that is going in. I don't know if you can bring back that, if we could use one of your slides, where it crosses the road, 138. There is a jog there that jogs towards the cemetery, and it comes to within 5 feet of our boundary. And this is an old cemetery, so I don't think they set things back from our property line. But there are stones right up against that property line in that area. So I don't know. I mean, they have their engineer design already. If at all possible, we'd like to see that jog go the other way. We're not in objection to this plan per se, but if it could, that might be helpful. And other than that, I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to say, but we have no objections to the plan and the fence and the distance in the other areas where it is from our line. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else? Please come forward.
Still live at the same place, 30 Bayfield Drive. Haven't moved yet. Anyways, I'm just wondering, she talked about a lot of archaeology and this and that. What about the traffic on 138? Have we discussed that at all with the Department of Transportation? The chief might talk about that with the traffic from URI kids along with all in the town with bicycles. Did anybody think of that one?
I think that went definitely into consideration, and that's...
You know how many students there are at URI? Maybe you might want to look at the amount of accidents in that area, just in South Kingstown.
There have been significant public hearings in regard to this project, which I think discussed.
Well, I'm
all
just
those impacts.
making a suggestion, maybe, because there's a lot of accidents there. The URI kids don't always obey the speed limit.
Right. And there was some talk, I think, originally of going up, I think, over 138 potentially, and maybe under, but I don't, so they definitely have considered that.
No, I'm just making a suggestion.
Right.
I mean, if you stood at Keeney Gym and watched the traffic with URI go back and forth, it's a 25. I don't think anybody does a 25. There's a hill coming down. I don't think I'd want to try and get a bike from one side to the other, you know what I mean? And there's going to be a roundabout. Is that like a rotary?
It's like,
Similar.
yeah.
Similar. Well, have you ever tried to go from South Road to one side to the other on a bike? Anybody?
Oh, I know exactly where you are. Yep.
Yeah, and there's not that much traffic. This is URI kids, 138, just making a suggestion. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Joe Jaber, Police Chief. All of this has been reviewed by the State Traffic Commission and the Town Traffic Commission, along with Chelsea. And if there was any place to put a crosswalk, that's the best spot. It's straight away, unlike the rest of 138. So it's been studied, and that type of hawk system is similar to the one in front of Rody Joe's at 108 and MacArthur Boulevard. They work pretty well. So I know that there are a lot of students and a lot of fast cars going through there, but it's not just the students, it's a lot of other vehicles. It is a busy road, but on that straightaway, I think it'll be fine.
Thanks.
Okay.
Any other comments from anybody in the audience? Questions, comments here at the table?
Oh, that was a pretty good presentation. It didn't leave a lot to ask.
Very thorough, yes. Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Yeah, I'll make that motion. I just want to say congratulations on finally getting this towards the finish line here. It's been in the works for quite a while, I know. So, yeah, motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve item 7B as presented.
Second.
Do we need to recognize the...
Oh. 14A.
Yeah, I'm getting it. Of course, the computer wants to be slow right now. All right. All right, the motion is the South Kingstown Town Council hereby authorizes the town clerk to give order of notice of a... No, that was... There's that. Aha, there we go. The South Kingstown Town Council hereby finds the boundaries of the Fernwood Cemetery, also referenced as Rhode Island Historic Cemetery Number 7, are adequately documented. There is no reason to believe additional graves exist outside the recorded cemetery boundary, and the construction activity proposed by the University of Rhode Island relative to the URI bike path connector will not damage or destructively alter the cemetery through erosion, flooding, filling, or encroachment. As such, the South Kingstown Town Council hereby approves the construction activities associated with the connector that are to occur within 25 feet of the Fernwood Cemetery.
Before that is seconded, could I just ask that, based on the memo we only received today, if there are further constraints in terms of a chain link fence, should we add that to the motion? I would think.
Is there a particular style of fence, or is it black chain link, or, okay. Just asking, because I think black chain link would look better in that environment.
So I do think it's appropriate to make it a condition. If you'd like, the only opposition that anyone in Town Hall was made aware of was the security issue. That issue has been addressed by the applicant and the objector. However, it's an agreement at this point. If you want to make it a condition, again, the assertion made by the objector was encroachment was likely because you'd have people leaving the bike path onto their property. It's not a water intrusion. It's not a physical intrusion other than by trespassers, but that is the assertion.
So the agreement between the university and the cemetery organization is to install a 6-foot fence, chain link fence, along the entire length of the eastern property line and to a distance into the woods on the southern property line, in order to make sure that there's a clear demarcation between where you should be and where you should not be.
Is there any particular color, or is it not specified?
We have investigated the use of a black vinyl-coated chain link fence in order to blend it into the landscape, yes.
Thank you.
All right, same motion with the condition of the fence as agreed upon by the parties.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any oppositions, abstentions? Seeing none, motion carries. Best of luck. Thank you very much. Thank you. Moving on to our third public hearing, item 7C. This is relative to the adoption of the fiscal year 2018-2019 position allocation to pay schedule that has been shown in Exhibit 1 on tonight's agenda, and it is attached. We discussed this at great lengths at the work session. And any comments?
I would just ask, for the benefit of the public who wasn't here during the work session, for Rob to explain.
Sure. This is the position allocation for the non-union positions here in the town government in South Kingstown. Our allocation of positions for union positions are handled separately. However, each year we assign a grade designation to every position. This is the proposed allocation for this fiscal year. This comports with the budget and is associated with an item that we'll deal with later tonight, which is item 14M, I believe, which is setting the benefits and salary for the non-union positions. This is literally just the job titles associated with the grades is the subject of this public hearing.
Do we have any comments from anybody in the audience who would like to come up to speak to this matter? Seeing none, do we have any comments here at the table?
I have none.
Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do we have a motion to adopt?
Second.
Wait, we need it first.
Let's just. Oh, well, I don't know. We still need to vote, right?
We need to close the public hearing first. You had a motion, you seconded it, so we have a motion to close the public hearing. But let's see if that has to be entered in.
No, I think this is just the. This is the motion after we close the public.
Oh, I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Seeing no oppositions, we'll move on. Motion?
I will make it a motion. Be it resolved that the town council formally adjust the employee benefits provided to non-union personnel presented in the town council's FY 2018-2019 final budget adopted April 30th, 2018, including the basic wage and salary program and longevity benefits effective July 1st, 2018. In accordance with a memorandum from the town manager to the town council dated June 7th, 2018, and entitled
Actually, I think we're confusing the resolution associated with resolution item 14M. Really, the only action to be taken here is to approve the position allocation to pay schedule for FY 2018-2019 as presented.
So moved.
Second with a comment. During the work session, we discussed that the town manager is interested in maybe having a look at this format and possibly making some tweaks to it. This happens to fit more in line with the budget, I think, that we dealt with earlier this year.
So I'll second Joe's motion. If he
No, I seconded yours. That was my comment. That was the discussion part.
So we have a motion on the floor, and we do have a second with comment that was added. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those, the motion is approved. Let's move on to item number 8 under communication. B, which is a communication and petition dated May 2018 from the parents of West Kingstown elementary students and other town residents, requesting that our school district phase out the use of styrofoam trays and other disposable food service products, and to comply with DEM regulations of recycling within the school cafeterias. This has been received, and how does the council want to direct?
I think this is not really our issue, as seems to me that this is school committee, and we did receive a communication from the school committee regarding this communication. Is that correct? Yes. So I would just make a motion to place this on file and direct it back at them.
Yeah, and I think also, supporting recycling and doing what's best for our environment, our community at the same time.
I'll also just add to that from the communications that we received. They don't use styrofoam on a daily basis. It's when they have to serve hot soup lunches, because they were in paper containers. There was spillage going on, and the paper was deteriorating, so that there were more burns of the children. So that's why they did go to styrofoam, but they only use it only when they have hot soup. So they're going to look into an alternative based on the communications to see that styrofoam could be taken away. That was the understanding of the last communications we had when we had the ban on plastic. I think it was that night.
Yeah.
So I will second Abel's motion, and somebody's looking to be recognized.
Oh.
Good evening. Hi, Martha Bedigian, SK Schools librarian. I am not sure about the accuracy of that statement on the styrofoam, only because it's sort of a pet issue of mine, and I often go in and they have trays, so there has not been a day that I don't go in and see a tray. Now, I don't go in daily to do it, but I certainly could begin to look at it, but...
You are if you're there, you're far better informed than we are. That's
Yeah.
just the communication we received, and that's what we,
So, every school's a little different, and, I don't have an overview, but I will say that I've gone in
well, thank you.
on any given day to find styrofoam trays.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, on that communication, do we have
If
a
the council would
motion?
like, I'd be happy to make an inquiry. I'm happy to follow up on the communication we received from, it was the deputy superintendent, I believe. It was,
We did receive a correspondence.
but I'm happy to make a phone call, find out, and report back on usage. I mean, I understand that this has been a subject that the council has been involved in with regard to plastic, so I'd be happy to sort of follow up and report back.
That would be great.
Place on file, we have a motion. Do we have a second on that?
You do.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No abstentions, no oppositions, motion carries. Let's move on to item number 9, which is comments from interested citizens. If anybody here in the audience would like to come up and share any comments or questions or suggestions, now is your time. Please state your name.
Good evening, Bruce Nielsen. I'd like to start with some positive comments. The Public Works Department over the winter has done a very good job of plowing and cleanup in the spring. It was very good. I had occasion to deal with the Finance Department this spring, and everyone treated me very well. It was very positive customer relations, and Trish and her staff are to be complimented. I inquired sometime during the winter about the bike path, and Ms. Gray and Chelsea were very helpful and very positive in getting me the information. I'm also encouraged by the building officials' new staff. They seem to be doing a nice job, and our new town manager should be patted on the back for positive changes there. I do have considerable concern. We have a council member who owes the Board of Elections many hundreds of dollars. We have a council member whose home was foreclosed, auctioned, and then bankruptcy occurred. I'm very concerned with that. I understand there's a number of postings at the Elks Lodge for non-payments. It just seems to go on and on. I'm sure that this person will take the stipend for June, and although she's not here tonight, pocket the whole thing. This leads me to one major concern. We have an individual with these issues who votes on a $100 million budget. I don't understand how that makes sense. Hearing no response, and I didn't expect one, I would like to opine that perhaps a Charter Review Commission should be formed and to deal with this type of problem. It's very disconcerting. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else from the audience that would like to come up to speak? Any questions, comments here from council? Do we have any other comments from interested citizens tonight? Okay, seeing none, we can move on to item number 11, which is the town manager's report.
The flag report for the week has a little more red than we had last week, and it's largely staff-focused changes. What we're seeing here is summer stuff for the most part, but it's starting to be a theme. We're starting to see this a lot in the flag report. So I would note staffing does seem to be a sensitivity or a vulnerability of ours. The particular staffing issues, we did receive notice this week that a much beloved member of the Building and Zoning Department has noted that he will resign, which will leave us shorthanded, and we're still in the process of hiring for plumbing and mechanical personnel. So we're still sort of suffering through some significant challenges in the building department, which of course is the reason the budget in the building and zoning department looks red as well. We noted earlier during the work session that our contract negotiations are driving us toward a increase in salaries that's greater than the 2% that was budgeted for last fall when we started putting budgets together. 2% looked like a reasonable number during negotiations, and since then, given changes in the rate of inflation and negotiations across the state, we're not likely to see a 2% increase across the board, and that is causing budget in admin services to be red. EMS, we did settle the contract with the paramedics, or at least tentatively have settled that contract with the paramedics, and that red we hope will be turning to yellow and then green soon, but we still have 4 vacancies in EMS pending finalization of that contract and notices and hiring happening. Comp time in the IT department, again, this is really summer and just the sheer number of calls off hours that have to be addressed by a small staff. Senior services, we had a significant staffing issue this week in that there's a requirement for the adult daycare program that we have a nurse on staff, and on Thursday of last week, because of a workers' compensation injury, we did not have a town employee who could fill that position, and all of the temporary services that we normally rely on could not find a nurse, so we had to close the facility last Thursday. So that was a significant staffing event. And then over in public services, really just summer schedules, vacation schedules. Good news items. I guess sort of the big ones, the bike path event that was held down on the William O'Neill bike path over by South Road School was well attended and positive story last week. We had an article in the Providence Business Journal about a forum that the Senior Center will be hosting on seniors issues. And the plastic bag resolution, or the plastic bag workshop, received quite a number of news articles that were interesting. The Public Works Services also received articles announcing the restarting of the e-waste program over at the transfer station. So we had a good news week as well. The challenges, looking at the sort of yellow in the tools and equipment, are problems that we're working through or going to work through. There's nothing in tools and equipment right now that looks totally disastrous. Photocopier for finance was actually one of the items is one of the items coming up on a transfer of funds, so we should be able to resolve that issue. The e-permitting project is an ongoing, or has been an ongoing problem for our IT and planning and zoning departments. That is coming to an end. That e-permitting project has got to finish up this month, and we'll know at the end of the month how successful we were, but it's coming to a resolution point. Other than that, if there are any questions about the report, I'd be happy to delve into more detail.
Lots of green and customer satisfaction.
And I don't think that's just optimism. I actually think that that reflects what's going on.
Great.
Any other questions or comments?
I would note one other item, and that is that we did receive, and the council has received, copies of the letter of intent and the school building committee appointees that have been approved by the school committee. So that does put squarely before the council the question of whether or not to sign the letter of intent. I will be presenting to the council draft resolutions on the signing of the letter of intent and the designation or appointment of members to serve on that building committee. As you've seen the letter, it really is just a letter that says we intend to apply. There's no real substance to that letter. But it is a requirement of the state regulations, so it's a question that has to be resolved. I'll present those two draft resolutions to the council either today, tonight, or sometime this week. Okay. And those can be dealt with as early as the next meeting.
Perfect. Thank you. Good.
And then I see that on Wednesday of this week, there's going to be a comprehensive community plan public workshop.
7 o'clock at the Recreation Center.
I don't know. If Chelsea, do you want to talk about that at all? That'd be great too.
Good evening, Chelsea Seifert, Planning Director. Yes, Wednesday, 7 o'clock, Recreation Center. We're seeing this as the sort of culminating event of the comprehensive plan update, which started, as you may recall, in January of 17 with our kickoff workshops. The planning board and all of the boards and commissions have been diligently working on this little by little over the past 18 or so months, and now they have a final draft of all the goals, policies, actions ready for public vetting. Really the goal of this is to say, for public to see what's happened, make sure that their comments have been incorporated appropriately, and then give any last minute comments before it comes to the planning board and to you for final public hearing and approval. The format is generally quick presentation in the beginning and then stations, sort of like the workshop was originally, stations around the room where you can sort of view and interact. All of the planning board members will be there. They'll each have a station, all of the planning staff and the consultants as well. So we welcome you to join us. It should be an interesting and fun event.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appointments?
Anything else? Seeing none, we will go on to the town solicitor's report.
Nothing to report.
Oh, thank you. And as far as appointments, did you want to update us on any?
Sure.
Joe's always up to.
I'll make a motion to appoint Joshua Daly to the Affordable Housing Collaborative.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome aboard and congratulations, Josh. We look forward to you serving the town. Thank you.
I'll make a resolution to reappoint Will Litvin to the Recreation Commission for a term to expire in June of 2021.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No abstentions, no opposed. Motion carries.
And then a resolution to reappoint Leo Murphy to the Waterfront Advisory Committee for a term also to expire June of 2021.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Anything else? Moving on to new business, 14B, a resolution adopting the Town Council's rules and regulations as amended and is shown in the package as Exhibit 2 on the agenda.
I will note for the council and for the public that Exhibit 2 is mislabeled in the agenda. It's labeled Exhibit 1. It is the second of the Exhibit 1s.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? If not, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item 14B is presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to 14D, which is a resolution authorizing the abatement of uncollectible tangible and personal property taxes for 2007 in the amount of $3,246.46, and uncollectible motor vehicle taxes also for 2007 in the amount of $15,289.91. A combined total of uncollectible taxes in the amount of $18,536.37. And this is also described in a memorandum from our finance director dated June 4th, 2018, abatement of uncollectible 2007 motor vehicle and tangible taxes.
Motion to approve item 14D is presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. E is a resolution in authorizing an award of bid to Encore Catering in Elmwood Avenue in Warwick for daily catering services to our adult day services program in accordance with all bid specifications in an amount not to exceed $3.75 per meal for the period that started June 1st, 2018 through May 31st, 2021. And this was described in a memorandum from the Director of Senior Services dated May 24th, catering services for adult day services program.
Motion to approve item 14E is presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to F as a resolution authorizing an award of bid to TCI Press located in Seekonk, Massachusetts for brochure printing services with all the bidding specifications in the amount not to exceed $9,855. And this is for fiscal year 2018 and 2019, and $10,092 for fiscal year 2019-2020. And again, this is described in a memorandum from the Leisure Services Director dated May 31st. The bid recommendation is for recreation brochure printing.
Motion to approve item 14F is presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to item H, which is a resolution establishing the following wastewater user fees, which will be effective July 1st of this year, as follows, and amending the town's schedule of fees, and it's further described in a memorandum from the Public Services Director dated June 4th. Under wastewater user fees, the minimum advance excess charge over $10,000, minimum advance $280 per 10,000 cubic feet per year per unit. Excess charge over 10,000 cubic feet, $3.80 per 100 cubic feet. Do we have any questions, comments?
A motion to approve 13H.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Sorry, 14H.
14, yeah, and I'll just note that although it's a significant increase over current rates, it still puts us as the lowest in the whole state. So it's good.
So we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to 14I, which is a resolution establishing a septage discharge rate of $78 per 1,000 gallons, again effective July 1st of this year, and amending the town's schedule of fees. This has just been described in a memorandum from the Public Services Director dated June 4th, septage tip fee rate increase.
Motion to approve item 14I is presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. J is a resolution amending the following water user rates effective July 1st of this year and amending the town's schedule of fees. Again, a memo from the Public Services Director to the Town Manager dated June 5th, entitled Fiscal Year 2018 and 19 Water Use Fee Adjustment for Miscellaneous Fees. I won't read them all because they are in the agenda, so if you want to discuss them further, that's fine.
Motion to approve agenda item 14J.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. K K is a resolution authorizing the extension of an award of bid originally granted on June 26th of 2017 to Situate, concrete pipe, for reinforced concrete pipe at the unit price bid for the period of July, again, 1st, 2018, through June 30th, 2019. The memorandum, again, is from the Public Services Director, dated June 8th. Contract extension, reinforced concrete pipe.
Motion to approve item 14K as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to L, which is a resolution authorizing an amendment of an award to bid originally granted May 26, 2015, to Veolia Water, North America Northeast, for on-call stormwater and sanitary sewer infrastructure and cleaning and video services at the unit prices bid for the period July 1st of this year through June 30th, 2019. Again, this is a memorandum dated June 5th from the Public Services Director, on-call stormwater and sanitary sewer infrastructure cleaning and video services, contract extension.
Motion to approve item 14L is presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Seeing no opposition, motion carries. 14M is a resolution formally adjusting the employee benefits provided to non-union personnel presented in the Town Council's fiscal year 2018 and 19 final budget adopted April 30th of 2018. This includes basic wage and salary program and longevity benefits effective July 1st of 2018. This is in accordance with a memorandum from the town manager to the town council dated June 7th and entitled Non-Organized Town Personnel, Fiscal Year 2018-19 Salary Benefits Adjustments.
Motion to approve item 14M is presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 14N is a resolution authorizing funds transfers as shown on Exhibit 4 and is further described in a memorandum from the Finance Director to the Town Manager dated June 7th, year-end reserve fund transfers.
Motion to approve item 14N as presented in Exhibit 4.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Nope. I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned at 8:44. Gail, do you want me to just take these with me, Dale? Or, Gail, listen to me.